Dr. Frank PIO, and I'm a marriage and family psychologist. I have authored in marriage, I've authored in family therapies and family settings. And my recent book that I've authored is African Marriage and Family, systems within the practical setting of Africa. So we would like to look at how do we manage finances within our family and our marriage. The best way to manage finance is to see how do we bring finances in the family or in the marriage. Some people are lucky, they start marriage, they get inheritance from their family setting or from their family systems and from their life, earlier life, hard workers pay or sweat. And for some of us that are coming from settings where we needed to work hard and we needed to earn a living, it's pertinent to realize that we need to work the money that we are bringing within the family. And others, that's when you realize that the husband works and the wife works. Of course, as we are beginning life in marriage, and there are no other commitments that accompany the marriage, like taking care of the children, accompanying children and raising children. The aspect of parenting, sometimes it calls for some good effort, and you cannot parent very well again without a good sustainable finance. The children will need the money to buy the milk, the money to buy diapers. You need the money to take children at school. So that's why it is good for the married partners or the married people to work out an economic stability, to gain an economic muscle that they will manage. Okay, good. Now that's why in the first 3 to 5 years, if people that are starting marital life are working and they started marriage without children, they need to first work and gain some economic stability. And when they have gained that economic stability, maybe they would look at the other aspect of either children coming in. It's good that as we are working, the wife works and the husband works. With all the due respect that we have different roles and responsibilities in the marriage, it may not be fair to give the wife or the woman a double task of parenting and at the same time they are working. But if they are able, depending on how the husband and the wife agree, it would be very good for any setting. And of recent, we do realize that every family wants to work, and every marriage that has able working men and women, they need to work, and that's what is going to bring the finances within the marriage. The other aspect on financial management that we need to look at is how do we now take care of these finances? How do we protect these finances? Who is going to pay the bills? If we are renting and we have not constructed the house, who pays the bill? Who pays the rent? Who pays the water bill? Who pays the electricity bill? Who buys the food? All that has to be factored in. You remember very well that as we came together in this kind of marriage as partners or as a couple, you ought to have agreed who keeps the money. In most civilized families and marriages, it's not good to be one-sided, or it's not good to be left the man. If the money is left to the man, usually it is easily spent because the man will think, after all, I'm spending my money. If the money is left to the wife or the woman, she will say, after all, I'm spending my money. So it is good to agree on who is going to keep the money and who is going to, how do we spend on this money. But traditionally, as it's well known, men kept the money, and also in other settings, the women keep the money. So it's good to agree on that. So how do we save? The other aspect that comes in, how do we save? It's good to know that we need to work hard, save and invest. Hard work, as the traditional saying goes, pays. Actually, behind every hard-working man, there is a woman who is working twice than that man. It may not be hard labor as the men think. See, women, think hard. You know, since we know that men are wired differently from women and women are wired differently, so the spending, after all, the woman who knows that in this family I have my children, or I'm going to generate my children, she knows that the spending levels have to be well termed in a way that leaves money within the system, that will take care of the children. I'll give myself as one of the best examples. The money that I used to spend while I was alone is not the money that we spend now with my family. I used to spend a lot. And anybody that wanted to borrow money, I could borrow at ease. But right now I have a family, I have children that need to be taken care of. So I need to think twice and I need to consult back at home. Actually, any marriage where money is coming within the system, we need to begin seeing, do we save on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly basis? And as we save, we need also to look at how do we invest and what are we investing in. The saving culture is a little, not very strong within our settings, and this is a challenge that we need to look at. We need to save for generations. The problem is that sometimes when we save, we do not show our partners which doors we went through to save. We don't show our children which doors we went through to work hard to get to this money. So when we save, is good habit and good practice, as the Babylonian saying goes. When you get money, it's good to pay yourself first. If you have prepared, this is what I've been telling people. For instance, if I earn 600,000 a month, it is good to divide this money into 3 percentages. Take a 10% that if you decide you are going to give to your place of worship, before you go to pay the 10% at the place of worship, you ought to have paid the 10% to yourself first. Because in case of any crisis, you know where to touch first. And this is money you should never touch unless in case of a crisis or when you are going to invest it. But most marriages or in most families, people are spending. We have become spendthrifts. We push the money in the pocket until you realize there is a hole. You cannot push your hand in the pocket to pick any money. It is finished. The best way is to save. Pay yourself first. You have 600,000, divide it into 3 portions. The 200,000 to be left in the house, the 200,000 to be spent with your family. From the 200,000 is where you pick the portion of the 10% that you have to take to the church or to your place of worship. Then you leave the other 10% for yourself for a crisis. Now, I would like to remind my listeners and my audience that serious money comes in somebody's life 3 times. That is money that you should use for investment, or that you should use, if you are saving, good money that you should use either to buy a vehicle or to construct a home or construct a house or do good business, comes 3 times in somebody's life. If it comes the first time when you worked hard for 3 to 5 years or 6 years, you ought to save it and invest. If you don't save and invest, it will disappear. And you will need to work harder for the next 5 to 6 years before it appears the second time. And again, if you don't save and invest on the second time, that money disappears. But remember, when the money disappears the second time, you are aging. You need to work well, work hard, smart and well, and save and invest smart. Because at this age, you may not be able to run after somebody that has taken away that money. When money disappears the second time, you need to work harder in order for this money to appear the third time. And remember, at this time, you have entered midlife. Midlife crisis comes in. You remember you wanted to build a house, you never built it. You spent the money. You remember you wanted to buy a vehicle, you never bought it. This is at the time when we see late achievers. late achievement for marriages and for families that never invested very well is sometimes a bit painful and it is tempting. That is why when you work hard and this money comes the third time, you ought to save it and invest it very well. This is the money that is going to take care of you as you age with your family or within your marriage. That is why, colleagues, as we work hard in our families or for our marriages, we need to save, we need to invest, and we need to know that serious money comes 3 times in our lives. And anybody that has worked hard for their marriage or for their family, there are 3 signs and symptoms. You ought to have educated your children. You ought to have built a place of stay. You ought to have created a source of income that is going to take care of you as you age. And those are the 3 gifts that anybody that is working hard for their marriage that they need to live or that they need to look at as they are aging. If one ages and they are still running after a rented house, your children have not been educated, you don't have enough capital or enough investment that is going to take care of you as you've aged, one of the 3 things may happen. 1, you may age a miserable person. 2, you may age an envious person. You envy others that worked hard and saved and invested. 3, you might age working harder and harder and not realizing those returns. The good news is that if you work hard and smart, save and invest. And of course, when we talk of saving, we are saving in productive ventures that are going to bring back that money. Today, if you are working on a job and somebody is employing you, it's very good, but that's not your place. It's good to create a family business, to create your own business that will take care of you as you age. So, as I conclude, the best way to manage our financial or our finances in our marriages and in our families, we need to look at how do we save and how do we work hard first to bring this money in the system, how do we save and how do we invest. Whichever form of investment, please do not take these investments for granted. If somebody is investing in a big industry, that is good. And remember, members, one of the financial tips that I would like to share with you, if you get money within our currency, I'm talking of course from the currency with my background, if you earn money that is between 500,000 to 1 million to 2 millions, 3 millions, up to 5, 10, that is your personal money. But if you begin earning money that goes beyond 20 millions, that becomes money for your family. Begin investing it for your family. If you begin earning money that goes beyond 20, 50 millions, that is money that should be shared with community or with the society. Put an investment that will benefit society. You may need to put a school, you may need to put a hospital, put something that will benefit society at large. Thank you for listening as you enjoy your financial management within your marriages and your families.